Assalamualaikum and good morning. I greet to all my fellow classmates in UL and also to Dr. Akbar Kamaluddin. So now I'm Muhammad Fiti Shafiq Rezofian. We are presenting on the topic of the US constitutional law. Right, so today during my presentation, this is my flow. First I will share with you about the formation of the Constitution. Next, the basic features of the Constitution. Third, the amendment in the Constitution. And last but not least, the other sources of law in the US constitutional law. Okay, first, the formation of the Constitution. And the Constitution of the United States established American national government and fundamental laws and guaranteed certain basic rights for its citizens. It was signed on September 17, 1787 by the delegates to the Constitutional Conventions in Philadelphia. Under a reference document, the Articles of Confederation, the national government was weak and states operated like independent countries. And at the 1787 convention, delegates devised a plan for a stronger federal government with three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial, along with system of checks and balance to ensure no single branch would have too much power. So this is the preamble of the Constitution, whereby it states we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So first is the basic features of the Constitution. In general, Article 1 states on the legislative branch, Article 2 is on the executive branch, and Article 3 is on the judicial branch. And we also have the amendment in the Constitution itself. So first and foremost is the legislative branch. So in Article 1, Section 1, it states that all legislative powers here granted shall be vested in Congress of the United States, which consists of Senate and House of Representatives. Whereby in Article 1, Section 2, the House of Representatives consists of 425 elected officials, and the population in each state determines the number of the congressmen. And how to become a member of the House? You must at least 25 years old, live in the US for 7 years, live in the state you will represent, and elected by the people. So the House also has the power for impeachment and initiate tax laws and spending bills. Right. For the Senate, is stated in Article 1, Section 3, whereby there's 100 senates and 2 senators from each state. And to run for Senate, the person shall be at least 30 years old, live in the US for 9 years, and live in the state you will represent. And senators will serve for 6 years term, and the vice president of the United States shall be the president of the Senate, but shall have no vote, and unless they be equally divided. Of course, the senator must be elected by the people. So both houses have the power of tax, harmony, declare war, and also regulate foreign and interstate commerce and many more. So next, we have the executive branch in the Article 2 of the United States Constitution. By Section 1, it states that the power of executive rested on the president. The president served for 4 years in one term, together with the vice president. And in Article 2, Section 2 is vested on the civilian powers of the military, cabinet, private power and appointment, whereby the president of the United States is the commander-in-chief of the army and navy, and he can make treaties by the 2/3 of the Senate's approval. Power to grant reprieve and pardon except for impeachment, and also he has the power to appoint ambassadors, judges of Supreme Courts, heads of federal agencies, and the Senate will vote for the appointment made by the president. So this shows the system of checks and balances. And also the president has the veto power either to pass or reject the bill made by the Congress, which even is another example of checks and balance from these two different branches of this government. And also in Article 2, Section 4, the president, vice president, and all civil officers could be removed from office on impeachment for conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. So to be president is simple. You have to be 35 years old, natural born citizen, live in the US for at least 14 years. And as president, you can only serve for 4 years term, and the president will be elected for every 4 years. So this is the current president, Donald J. Trump. the 45th and current President of the United States. He was sworn on January 20, 2017. So last but not least, the judiciary. So it's simple to say that Article 3, Section 1 of the United States states that the judicial power of the US is vested on one Supreme Court, and Article 2, Section 2 is on the jurisdiction of the court. Basically, the Supreme Court has jurisdiction over all matters, especially to interpret the constitutionality of laws. So we have the amendment in the Constitution. So the amendment is basically like some improvement made to the United States Constitution to cater on the basic right of the US people. So we have first amendment is that on freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of press, freedom of religion, and freedom to petition the government. And this right were important to establish because they ensure that individuals could think, speak, and act without fear of being punished for disagreeing with the government. And the First Amendment is still very much at the center of our political discourse today. So we have the issue of this reporter, Dean Acosta, whereby the White House had banned him from entering the White House for any press conference because he had done something that is very immoral. And the issue is whether or not the act of the White House banned him is unlawful by the Constitution. And then we have Second Amendment, right to bear arms, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. And in 2008, the Supreme Court itself ruled 5/4 that US citizens have a constitutional right to keep a loaded handgun at home for self-defense. We have the Third Amendment from which forcing citizens to provide lodging for soldiers. This initially to differentiate themselves from the United Kingdom. But during the British colonization, every house in America has to give protection to the British Army, and they have to give British Army food. So pursuant to this amendment, it prohibits the government to force the people to give protection to the armies. We have the Fourth Amendment about this research and seizure. So the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches, and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person and things to be seized. So we have the Fifth Amendment, this right for the accused people to be frank. They have the right to grant jury demand. They have the right for the restriction of property. They have the right for the protection and enforced self-determination. They have the right for the guarantee of due process of law. And last but not least, they have the right of the prevention of the government taking private property for public use without proper compensation. So what is Miranda right is stated in the case of Miranda and Arizona 1966, where the Supreme Court decided that police must give criminal suspect a set of warnings before they can be questioned. So this is called as Miranda rights. These rights are in direct relation to the self-incrimination clause of the Fifth Amendment. To the 15th Amendment, whereby it deals with the right to vote in the US, passed by the Congress of February 26, 1969. So it guarantees the right to vote and guarantees the right cannot be denied based on race. Other than constitutional law, we have also three other sources of law in the United States. First is the Federal Estates Statute, whereby it is also known as a statutory law enacted by the United States Congress, applicable to all 50 states. And for example, it is Air Clean Act, where it regulates the air emission. And so, whereby in other situations, state statutes are enacted by state legislature and it only apply within the state. And next, we have the administrative regulation. It's similar to our Malaysian law of the subsidiary legislation, whereby the rules issued by the state of federal administrative agencies. Example is environmental protection agencies. It provides the rule of how law will be applied and enforced. So federal agencies developing regulation receive their authority to regulate and enforce from the Congress through an enabling act that grants and defines the scope of the authority. So it published and updated annually at 3 different places. First, the Code of Federal Regulation. Second, the list of sections of the Federal Register. So it's similar to our subsidiary legislation. And last but not least is case law and judicial opinion, whereby every single countries they will refer to the case law and will uphold the principle of judicial decision, stare decisis, whereby it's ensured to every decision made in each case following the same fact, following the same decision made by the previous case before. So we could not deny that the US itself are depending on case law and judicial opinion in their way to protect the law, in their way to uphold the law for its citizens. So by that, I end my presentation and thank you so much.